Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mike and today I'm going to do a different type of video. So I see a lot of videos on YouTube about people who like to do reviews of their vehicle, and they'll do something like, I don't know, name your vehicle, 100 miles with my new Corvette. 1 month with my new Ford Maverick. 2 months, 3 months, 100 miles, 500 miles, 1,000-mile review of my whatever, you put the car in there. So there's a lot of these reviews about Teslas. So I thought I'd do a review about my Tesla. So for me, this is going to be 6 years with my Tesla Model S. Yes. I can't believe it. I've had this car for 6 years. I love this car. It's been great, and it is still great. So I'm gonna talk to you about my Model S, what I've learned in 6 years of ownership of the same Tesla Model S, some of the things I like about the car, some of the things I dislike about the car, and I'm actually in the market for another car. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm looking for. Am I looking for another Tesla? Am I looking for another EV? Or am I looking for something else? And I'll let you in on that at the end of this video. So before we get into my likes and dislikes, I do want to say I am a Tesla fanboy, so there's way more likes, but probably the greatest compliment I can give this car is that I'm as excited to get in that car and drive it tomorrow as the day that I bought it. And the other thing I would tell you, if you're sitting on the fence about buying a Tesla, don't be afraid. You'll love it. Don't worry about range anxiety. It used to be a thing back in the day. But I've never come close to running out of battery, and especially once I figured out my driving habits that I didn't really drive that far each day, and they say the average American drives about 30 miles a day. So if you've got an extended range Tesla with a battery range of over 300, you're not even going to come close to running out if you're using it as a daily driver. Road trips are a little bit different. We'll talk about the supercharger network a little bit later, but you'll like it. So one of the things I really like about the car is just driving it. It is fun to drive, and it is fast, and it is quiet. You don't have to yell to talk to people in the car next to you. So here I'm just driving through my neighborhood, and you can probably hear how quiet the car is. Of course, most cars are quiet when you're going this slow, but you'll hear it's probably about 50 decibels, maybe a little less at highway speeds in my car. My car is very quick, it accelerates fast. Of course, mine's a 2016 rear motor, so I'm not as quick as the new Teslas or the ones with the dual motors, but even still, the car is very quick to accelerate, and it's got tons of power to pass and torque. If you're on the highway and you're going 65 and you stomp on the gas, it'll still blow you back in the seat. One of the other things that's really good is I like the regenerative braking and the one pedal driving. Here we go. Let's step on it right here. So you can see you can get up to 65 miles per hour in a few seconds. It doesn't take that long. Sure, there's other cars that are faster, but those are mainly Teslas and some other high-end sports car. But it's got plenty get up and go for 2016. One of the things you'll really learn to like about Teslas is the one pedal driving, where you really don't have to use your brakes too much. The regenerative braking will slow you down so that you can come to a stop I'm not really sure how much electricity you really get back in the process of regenerative braking. I've seen other YouTubers who try to calculate it and stuff like that, but quite honestly, in the big picture, the regenerative braking is great because it slows you down. But if you're low on energy, don't count on regenerative braking getting you enough energy back to make it to the next supercharger. And you can see we got a little regen going on as we slow up into the stoplight here. You can see the little green bar down there. It's kind of unfortunately shaded out by that light there. So let's go back and do that again here. You know, one of the other things I really like about my car is the air conditioner. I have a great air conditioner. I also have the HEPA NBC filter in it, but my air conditioner is as good as it is the day that I bought it. It is cold. And also, you know, 6 years in, this car does not have one squeak or rattle in it. You know, I know Tesla's known to be a little loosey-goosey with their manufacturing, but mine is very solid. Not one squeak or rattle in it after all this time. I also like the technology in it. It's great having the large screen, especially for maps. A lot of people complain that they don't have CarPlay. Yeah, I wish I had CarPlay, but Tesla wants to control all that. But for the most part, the technology in the car works. The screen is great. We'll do a little test about that in a little bit. Now let's go ahead and give it the gas again and head back from where we came. See the power gauge up there, but there we're getting some regen there as we step off the brake. Off the gas, but you can see it steps out pretty quickly. I've also been very pleased with autopilot. It's essentially on my car a lane keeping system with adaptive cruise control. Mine's gotten better over time, and I really like when I put a route in, because I have a dashboard, I get the little mini map there in the corner. And again, I like having the large map. It's great for when you're driving, trying to see where you're at. But my autopilot has worked relatively flawlessly. So I'll do a quick demo of some of the technology in the car, but overall the voice commands are very simple and easy to use for the phone, for music, for navigation. They work really well. Everything else has been pretty good. Navigate to Costco. All right, so there's the list of all the Costco's next to me. Pick one. There we go. And then one of the things that I really like about the dashboard here is you get the mini map there of your navigation, so you can look up if you want. Play song, Are You Gonna Be My Girl? this car has the standard sound system, and I've always thought it sounded fine. I'm not really an audiophile that can hear other sounds that you can't. Of course, you can modify things. So this car also comes with the standard stuff. I mean, I'm not sure if the new cars have, but this still has Slacker. I still use Slacker. It's okay. Maybe not the best streaming service in the world, but it works all right for what it is. You got your rear view camera if you want that. Bluetooth. Like, I have AM FM radio. You can't get AM FM radio in a Tesla anymore. We'll talk more about that later. I also have Spotify, Tidal, another streaming service that I don't use. You have their toy box, their Easter eggs and whoopee cushion, etc. You got the arcade with different games. I don't really use the arcade that much. Of course, you can make the screen bigger, or you can make it a half screen up top, whatever you want. Air conditioning works great in this car. It's got your standard interior. A little different than the new cars, but overall, it's been I like the interior. It's nice. Got the also have, of course, the sunroof. Don't use it that often, but when the weather's right, it's nice to have. Actually, today's one of those days here where you could actually use the sunroof. Not too hot. Let's see. Kind of got your standard thing going on here. Charging. Autopilot. This has the original autopilot on it. It's really just a lane keeping system with adaptive cruise control, but I've never had any issues with it, and I've always kept my hands on the wheel and things like that. Never had any issues with it. Let's see, you got 41,000 miles on it after 6 years, so not high mileage. I'm pretty sure I have the current software. I have lots of software changes over the years. The car's definitely better than when I bought it with the software changes. And of course you can, I don't really like this, but you can change it to a map. To a satellite view. I personally just like the map mode. I have the traffic on. You can see that's where some traffic lights are. And if you want to find superchargers, well, there you go. There's the newest supercharger is 5 miles away. I don't need to navigate there, but I think it also, let's go back. Let's go back to superchargers, because I think, yeah, so there it tells you there's 8 stalls, 7 are available, 250 kilowatt max download. This just opened up a couple months ago. When I first moved down here, there was only one supercharger up in Tampa, and now you can see Florida is covered with them. Don't really have to check before I go anywhere. I like the way my car looks. It looks fabulous. Even after all this time, it still looks great. One of the really cool things is that if you weren't a Tesla fan, you probably couldn't tell the difference between my car and a new one because it doesn't look outdated. The paint has been fabulous on this. It still shines. It looks great. I've got one or two little chips in there from rocks on the highway over the years, but I don't have any serious scratches. And we get some light scratches and things like that. But the car just absolutely still looks fantastic. It is a good looking, modern looking car, and I just really like the way it looks. It's a very pretty color, and I love that blue look. Let's take a quick look at my interior. The trunk in these Tesla Model S's are pretty big, especially if you fold the back seats down. You get a nice cover in the back so people can't see inside if you happen to be on a little road trip. Fits lots of luggage. You still have the little additional storage space there underneath that rectangle. You can put a lot of stuff down in there if you want. Now, of course, in my car, I have the black interior, and my seats were, like I said, this is 2016. They're made out of some type of recycled plastic. They look good. They're easy to maintain. They're very serviceable. And they're very comfortable, but I would not describe them as plush. A lot of people complain about Tesla interiors for a lot of reasons, but they expect to have an interior, like a Mercedes-Benz or something like that, but that's just not Tesla's thing. They're comfortable seats, they look good, they're easy to maintain, but they are not plush. And something else other people complain about a lot is the lack of cup holders. If you're into cup holders, Tesla is not for you. And there are not, 12 cup holders of various sizes and stuff in this car. I have 4 cup holders, and that's it. But I did put some aftermarket, mats in there, which have worked out really good. And other than that, the interior has worn really well. I do have a little stitching problem on my driver's side seat. I'll show you that if someone has an idea for how I can fix that or at least keep it from getting worse. Let me know. I was thinking of maybe putting some crazy glue on it or something like that, but I'm sure there's a better way to do it. But overall, the interior has held up very well. Let's change topics and talk about supercharging for a while. Supercharging has been great for me for the most part. Very rarely have I ever needed to wait for a long time, but it does happen occasionally. When I first bought the car, range anxiety was a real thing. Back in 2016, the supercharger network was not nearly as robust as it is now, and you would have to take a look at the supercharger map and make sure you could get to where you were going or be able to charge someplace. As you can see from this map, there are some places that you just could not get to. But a lot of that has changed over the years. And back around 2016, there were 500 some superchargers. They've been building them like crazy. I believe today there are over 2,000 superchargers in the United States today. So really now, when I first got the car, I used to charge the car up like Friday night before I'd go on a trip Saturday morning or something like that. I don't even do that anymore now. Superchargers are so prevalent. Now I just get in my car and go, and I'll stop at a supercharger along the way and charge and not even worry about it. And you can see, between these two maps, just how much more robust the supercharger network is now than it was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and hopefully Tesla keeps installing more and newer and better and faster superchargers. So the cost of owning a Tesla is pretty low compared to an internal combustion engine car. Um, I haven't done a lot of calculations on how much energy my car has used. There's other people who do stuff like that specifically in their videos if you want to watch it. But I can tell you that I have not noticed an increase in my electric bill when I charge my car, and I primarily do all my charging at home. Now I have the lifetime supercharging and lifetime internet as perks with my car. Those were incentives that Tesla was giving out many years ago, and they had always said at some point people were going to have to pay for supercharging and internet. I have that for free. Though I have that for free, I don't run to my local supercharger and charge my car up instead of using my house. I really use the superchargers as they're intended for people who are traveling. As I said, I just leave now and stop at a supercharger, and maybe I'll stop on the way home if my battery is low. But as far as other costs, you don't have the cost of an internal combustion engine, oil changes, and those types of things. The only things that I paid for in this car is a set of tires, so there's $1,000, windshield wipers, and windshield wiper fluid are the only things that I've really had to do to this car. Now, maintenance wise, I've had very few problems with this car. I have had the Takata airbag recall done, and on my car I had to have my driver's side door handle replaced once. As that on the earlier Model S's, when that handle comes in and out, there's a little wire in there that jiggles, and sometimes that breaks and you have to replace it. They've fixed that design flaw in later models. And I also had the four-way valve replaced. That's a valve in the front of the car that directs coolant around the battery and to other places. So those are the only issues I've had with the car under warranty, and Tesla was great for the Takata airbag and the door handle. They sent a mobile team out to actually I was working in DC, the DC Metro Center parking garage, and fixed both of those issues while I was at work. Didn't have to take time off. That was great. You can't get that type of service from Lexus or Mercedes or BMW. The four-way valve, I had to drop it off at a service center, and they gave me a rental car, so that was good. Now, the only things that I've had to pay for out of pocket that have broken once my warranty ended was something happened to my charge port. It was charging, but it wasn't working properly, so I had to have that replaced. And while the guy was working on that, he recommended I replace my 12-volt battery. He was astounded because I had the original red 12-volt deep cycle battery. And as I recall, when I bought my car, Model S's and Model X's were having all kinds of problems with these 12-volt batteries. I think Tesla maybe got a bad batch of them or something like that, but he was just like dumbfounded that I still had the original red 12-volt battery and it was working. He recommended that I replace it, and I went ahead and did it just because there had been a lot of problems with that battery, even though I didn't have any problems. But it was 6 years old, so we just went ahead and did that. So that cost me $700 for the charge point, and I think it was $60 for the battery. So in total, I've probably spent less than $2,000 on this car over the last 6 years, and I've had, basically no issues with it. It just runs like a dream. So if you're thinking about that, I mean, that's a advantage to a Tesla. They run great and they don't cost a lot, though. Depending on where you're at, electricity is more expensive in some places. And, if you're driving 300 miles a day and charging 300 miles a day at your house, you may see a difference. For me, I was only driving, it was a 2 mile drive to the MARC train station and 2 miles back. I was driving 4 miles a day. So, I wasn't using a lot of electricity when I was working. And then if I rode Metro, that was like 7 miles one way and 7 miles back, 14-mile round trip. So those costs are going to vary depending on how much you drive and where you live. But overall, owning a Tesla has a very low cost of ownership as far as electricity is cheaper than gasoline. And there's other maintenance things, no oil changes, no oil filters, no transmission fluid, things like that. So before I get into the dislikes, I have one honorable mention about something I love about my car. One of the things about Teslas is when you put them in reverse, or at least the Model S's, the rear view mirrors tilt down. And that allows you to look at the mirror and see the ground besides the car. Say you're backing into a parking space, you can see the lines in the parking space very easily. And between the camera, the rear view camera, and those tilted down side mirrors, it's so easy to back into parking spaces. It's unbelievable. I really love that feature. Okay, so now for the things that I don't like about my Tesla. So the first thing I don't like, and this is something that Tesla did that really ticked me off. So my car is a 75, and when I bought it, it had 248 miles of range. Over the years, over about 4 years, it went down to 242, and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. My battery degradation isn't that bad. And because I don't charge it all the way up when I go on trips, I really wasn't paying that much attention to it. And one day, for whatever reason, I charged the car all the way up, and I had lost 10 miles of range. I went from 242 to 232. And, I thought something had happened to my battery or what have you. And it turned out it was a Tesla software update. Now, according to Tesla, they're limiting the amount of charge to the battery so that you don't damage the batteries. But as I recall, when I bought the car, they were already doing that, holding off some of the battery at the top end and the front end so you couldn't damage it. So they just took away 10 miles of range from my car for no particular reason other than I guess they're trying to keep from having to pay out warranties to replace batteries. And that really ticked me off because, the new cars have over 300 miles of range, which is much sweeter. So losing 10 miles of range was something that I really didn't like very much. I didn't appreciate that from Tesla. Something else I don't like about my car is the blind spot monitoring is, even though they advertised my car as having it, it is virtually non-existent. There's no blind spot monitoring on my car whatsoever. So unless they've changed that in the newer cars, you got to be a little careful when you're changing lanes because you won't have, like for example, on Fords and Mazdas, that light in the mirror indicating someone's in your blind spot. And let's see. It's not really something that I dislike. I have a little bit of Tesla envy for the new cars. I mean, the new cars are much nicer. They have better, faster hardware. software, etc., cameras. So even though, my car has been through a lot of updates, it's much better than it was before. My car is never going to have the capabilities that the new cars have now. But that's just kind of the way it is when you buy something now. You buy it with whatever features you want, for example, a computer, because, in a couple months, the new chips come out and all of a sudden your thing is outdated. So even though I have a little Tesla envy with the new cars, I'm very happy with mine. The technology is still on par with most new cars today. And even my car is still ahead of the technology in many cars, particularly if they're not luxury, high-level trim cars. May be equivalent to my car these days. And those are really kind of the only bad experiences I've had with my Tesla. So as I said, I'm a Tesla fanboy. I'm a fan of all electric cars. But if you're thinking about buying a Tesla, I'd highly recommend it. Now, in my life, I'm currently looking for a new car. And I don't think I'm going to buy a Tesla. As much as I love my Tesla and I like Tesla as a company, I got some different things going on in my life now, and I need a pickup truck. And I've been looking around. To be honest, I don't like the Cybertruck at all. I know some people love it, other people don't. I'm one of those people. I mean, it looked like a warthog from Halo. I don't like the way it looks. And I don't like the stainless steel body. I don't understand why anyone would want a stainless steel body. It can still be scratched, it can still be dented, and even stainless steel rust. And it doesn't look that good. Why would you want a stainless steel truck? And if you wanted it to be a different color, you'd have to go out and pay $10,000 for a wrap. But in any event, you can't even buy one. Tesla has been screwing the pooch on this, and they have kind of lost the EV, at least pickup truck market, to the Ford Lightning, but we'll come back to that in a second. The other thing that I don't like is what Tesla is doing with the superchargers and opening them to other electric vehicles. Now, if I'm a other electric vehicle owner, that's great, but that's one of the big selling points of buying a Tesla, is having the availability of that supercharger network for long-range traveling. If I'm a Tesla owner and I'm going on a trip and I go in there and there's, I can't charge my car because there's a Ford F-150 Lightning, a Porsche Taycan, and a Honda Prius, even though it only has a small battery, but people do crazy stuff. If these supercharging stations start becoming even more full than they are now, and I'm a Tesla owner, I'm going to be mad. I mean, that exclusivity of the superchargers is a huge selling point. So I hope Elon's getting a lot of money from this bill that Congress just passed, and I'm sure he's thinking of some way to monetize it. I hope it's worth the money and potentially pissing off customers or driving other customers away. So that said, I don't like that one bit. And, they're also doing stuff like taking out the AM/FM radio in a car. I don't get it. I mean, AM/FM radio doesn't cost that much. I understand, you got your iPhone, your Android phone, you're listening to Apple Music, Prime Music, Spotify, whatever app you're using, that people are using that in the cars. And I do that too in my cars, but I still like listening to the radio. I like to hear the local news, the local weather, the local traffic. Yes, I know you can get that from an app, but it's nice to get it, when you're driving in your car in your local radio station. Hey, there's an accident at whatever, it works nice. Yes, I know there are apps you can get to listen to AM and FM radio in your car, but you know what? I don't want to use an app to listen to AM, FM radio. I want to press a button and go to my station. All right, so enough about that. So what am I looking for in my next car? So I want a pickup truck. I've looked at a lot of pickup trucks. I like the Ford F-150 Lightning, and I also like the Ford F-150 Power Boost hybrids. So those are what I'm looking for. I'm not replacing my Tesla. I'm just adding a new car because I do a lot of fishing. I go to the beach. I do some mountain biking. And even though I can fit my bike in my Tesla, you got to take the wheel off, even though it's a quick release wheel and stuff like that. And it's kind of a hassle to get it in there. And then, when we go to the beach, we get it's like being a Sherpa. We got the umbrellas, the chairs, the coolers, all the stuff you have to carry. It'd just be easier to have a truck when I go to the beach or when I go fishing. Put your fishing gear in the back and everything that's becoming like, as I get more involved in fishing, there's more and more stuff to take with me. So I'm thinking it'd be nice to have a truck. Plus, my car is a show car. I don't like taking it to the beach and getting it full of sand. With a pickup truck, that's not going to annoy me as much. So I'm looking to get an F-150 Lightning. It's almost impossible to get one because I didn't order one originally. So I might end up focusing more on finding a F-150 Power Boost hybrid, but we'll see what happens here in the future. And if I get something, I'll let you know what it is. But I still love my Tesla. I still like Tesla as a company, even though they are doing some things nowadays that I'm not very happy with. I also don't like not having a dashboard, and I don't like the way the new cars have the externally mounted monitor. I've talked to a lot of people with X's and Y's, and they say, hey, it's not a big deal. You get used to it real quick, and they love their cars and they love the monitor. After being in my car, I like having that screen mounted in the dash. It looks nicer. I like having a dashboard in my car with my everything right in front of me, so you're not always looking to the right. But people seem to like the new interiors of the cars. They do look good, but I personally would like to have a dashboard, and I think they would look better if they were mounted into the dash. But I think they brought them out so they're easier to see. So between all of that, I think I'm going to go in a different direction. But the real reason I'm going in the different direction is I want a pickup truck. Tesla has lost the EV pickup truck market to Ford by taking so long to get the Cybertruck out. And the Ford Lightning is a great truck. I test drove one. It is fabulous. The features in it are on par with any high-end car these days, and I think it's going to continue to be a best-selling vehicle for Ford. And then if Tesla opens up the network and you get a Ford F-150 Lightning, now you no longer have to rely on Electrify America. It's going to be pretty sweet for everyone who's got an EV who can't use superchargers now, just to be able to start rolling into superchargers and using them. Probably much to the chagrin of Tesla owners when they come in and find their 6 or 8 station supercharger is full of Taycans and F-150s and Mach-E's and what have you. So that's kind of where I'm at. Still a fan of Tesla, still love my Model S, but I'm looking for a pickup truck because I've just had some changes, and it's time to get another vehicle. That doesn't mean there may not be other Teslas in the future, but for right now, I'm looking for a truck. But overall, if you're interested in a Tesla, I highly recommend it. You'll love it. They're fabulous cars. There's a lot to like about them and very little downside. And like I said, I like my Tesla. Right now, I'm planning on driving it until the wheels fall off it, like the wheels fall off the Bluesmobile and the Blues Brother. But I don't see that happening after 6 years. It is in fabulous shape and it runs as well as the day that I got it. Take care. I'll see you out the next video. Maybe I'll have a update on a new pickup truck. We'll see. Take care. Bye.